The U.S. economy is bleeding $500 million every single day right now. That is not a future risk that is happening today. It started February 28th, with U.S. and Israeli strikes on Iran on February 28th. The Strait of Hormuz closed tight. Gas prices are only wave 1. There are 4 larger waves incoming that will destroy savings. Most people will not wake up until wave 5 hits. Let me show you exactly why you are not ready. You are about to learn what your brain is hiding from you. On February 28, 2026, the world changed. U.S. and Israeli forces launched coordinated strikes against Iranian nuclear facilities. Iran responded by effectively closing the Strait of Hormuz. 21% of the world's daily oil supply flows through that narrow waterway. Within 72 hours, Brent crude surged over 50%. Prices hit the $110 to $120 range. The largest oil supply shock in modern history began unfolding in real time. This is not a theoretical scenario in an economics textbook. This is actually happening right now. You saw gas prices jump? You filled your tank and winced at the total. You probably thought that was the crisis. That is exactly what your brain wants you to believe. And that belief is about to cost you thousands of dollars you cannot afford to lose. The gas pump price is the smallest piece of what is coming. 4 additional waves are already baking into the economy right now. Each wave lands on a different timeline. Each wave hits a different part of your budget. By the time most people connect the dots, they will have already lost money they could have protected. This video is your early warning system. Your brain is failing you right now. It runs on ancient software designed for survival. This creates a mismatch between our ancient brain design and the modern economy. That software creates blind spots that make you dramatically underestimate compound crises. Understanding these blind spots is the only way to override them completely. The first blind spot is mental accounting. Your brain puts money into separate buckets: gas budget, grocery budget, travel budget, entertainment budget. When gas prices spike, your brain treats it as a gas problem only. It does not automatically connect gas prices to grocery prices, to airline prices, to interest rates. Each bucket feels separate even when the same underlying cause is draining all of them simultaneously. This is your first major blind spot. The second blind spot is anchoring bias. Whatever number you see first becomes your reference point for everything after gas prices jump to $4, then $5. That number anchors your perception of the entire crisis. Your brain uses the gas pump as a proxy for the whole situation. This creates a perception prison. If gas prices stabilize slightly, you feel relief, even though waves 2 through 5 are still accelerating towards your wallet. This false relief is dangerous. The third blind spot is loss aversion. Losing $100 feels twice as painful as gaining $100 feels good. This asymmetry causes panic. Your nervous system screams, "Sell," when selling is exactly the wrong response. The pain of watching your portfolio drop $5,000 feels like losing $10,000. This feeling overrides logic and causes decisions you will regret for decades. You are not irrational. You are running ancient survival software in a modern financial environment designed to exploit that software. The only defense is awareness of how your brain betrays you during these moments. Now, let me walk you through all 5 waves so you can see the full picture your brain is hiding from you. This is the moment of awareness. If this is already opening your eyes, hit subscribe, because most people will not understand what is happening until wave 4 or 5 lands. Wave 1 is energy. This wave has already arrived. You are living inside it right now. Brent crude surged past $120 per barrel. Diesel prices jumped 36% almost overnight. The average gallon of gas moved from $3.17 toward $5 or higher depending on your region. This is the visible crisis, the one everyone notices because you experience it directly at the pump every single time you fill your tank. But here is what National Retail Federation data shows about consumer behavior during energy spikes. Discretionary spending collapses first. Dining out drops significantly. Gym memberships get canceled. Weekend trips disappear. Streaming subscriptions get questioned. Consumers cut anything optional. Non-optional categories cost more. Wave 1 is painful but survivable for most households. The danger is believing Wave 1 is the entire crisis. It is merely the opening act. Wave 2 is groceries. This wave is landing right now as I record this video. Everything you buy at the grocery store arrived on a truck. Trucks run on diesel. Diesel jumped 36%. That cost increase does not disappear. It gets passed directly to you through higher food prices. Perishables get hit hardest. Fresh produce, dairy, meat, anything requiring refrigerated transport. The cold chain runs on diesel from farm to grocery store. Retailers have almost no margin left to absorb these costs. Years of inflation followed by tariff pressures have already squeezed grocery margins to nearly zero. The increased transportation costs flow straight through to shelf prices. There is no buffer remaining. This is different from Wave 1 because it is mandatory. Wave 2 is particularly dangerous because it hits essential spending. You can skip dining out. You cannot skip eating. The grocery budget is mandatory. When it expands, everything else must contract to make room. This is where the budget pressure becomes unbearable for average households. Wave 3 is fertilizer. This wave remains invisible right now, but will land hard in September and October when crops demand it most. 80% of fertilizer production depends on fossil fuel inputs. Natural gas is the primary feedstock for nitrogen fertilizers. 1/3 of the global fertilizer supply routes through or near the Strait of Hormuz disruption zone. This concentration makes the impact inevitable. Farmers are planning fall harvests right now based on fertilizer they purchased months ago. The current price spike has not hit their costs yet, but this lag time means the spike will impact their next cycle. The next planting cycle will reflect current fertilizer prices. The fall harvest will carry those costs. Food prices will surge again in late 2026, driven by input costs most consumers never think about. Wave 3 is the sleeper wave. It operates on agricultural timelines, not news cycles. By the time it arrives, most people will have forgotten about the February strikes entirely. They will blame grocery stores or farmers or politicians. This is where your mental accounting blind spot gets exploited completely. The fertilizer wave hits your grocery budget but feels unrelated to gas crisis. Wave 4 is airfare. This wave is already baked in for summer travel. Jet fuel prices surged 85% since the Hormuz closure. Family vacation plans now face these high ticket costs. Airlines do not price tickets based on today's fuel costs. They lock in prices months ahead based on projected costs. Summer airfares already reflect the crisis. Even if oil prices moderate tomorrow, the airline tickets are already priced at crisis levels. The fuel hedging creates a delay you cannot escape. Wave 4 punishes those who didn't book early. Summer vacations are now dramatically more expensive. Family travel plans collide with reality or any bookers at face stasis prices. Drop a comment telling me which wave concerns you most. I want to know what your household is facing specifically. This is information I need. Wave 5 is interest rates. This wave has the longest lag but potentially the deepest damage. It arrives through monetary policy. Before the crisis, markets expected rate cuts in 2026. The trajectory suggested easing was possible. But those expect crayons were crossed out, replaced by hold lines. Projections reversed. That expectation is dead. Energy shocks are inflationary by nature. Every sector of the economy uses energy. When energy costs surge, inflation follows automatically. The Fed cannot cut rates into rising inflation. They may be forced to raise rates instead. This transforms the entire financial landscape. Mortgages stay expensive or get worse. Auto loans remain costly. Credit card rates stay elevated. Consumer spending freezes because borrowing costs stay prohibitive. Wave 5 creates a trap. The economy slows because consumers cannot afford to spend. But inflation persists because energy costs flow through everything. It's impossible to escape. This combination has a name that should terrify anyone who remembers the 1970s: stagflation. Rising prices plus stagnant growth plus elevated unemployment. The Fed has no good tools for stagflation. Rate hikes crush growth further. Rate cuts accelerate inflation. There is no easy exit. We're not in stagflation yet, but the current trajectory points directly toward it. If the Hormuz disruption extends beyond a few months, the longer oil stays above $100 per barrel, the higher the probability of stagflation becoming reality. Now, let me address what is happening in financial markets because your portfolio is already feeling this. The S&P 500 dropped approximately 7%. The Nasdaq entered correction territory. Small cap stocks got crushed even harder. The VIX volatility index spiked as fear flooded the market. Your brain is screaming at you right now. Sell everything. Get out before it gets worse. Protect what you have left. This is loss aversion hijacking your decision-making. The pain you feel watching portfolio decline activates the same neural pathways as physical threat. Your amygdala wants you to run. Running means selling. But selling now is almost certainly the wrong move. Historical data on geopolitical shocks tells a consistent story. Markets drop initially, then recover. The average first-month loss following major events is approximately 0.9%. Then recovery begins. The investors who sold during panic locked in losses. The investors who held or bought more captured the recovery. Post-World War II data covering every major conflict shows this pattern repeating. Korea, Vietnam, Gulf War, Iraq, Ukraine, the pattern repeats across all of them. Gold has been volatile during this crisis. It spiked initially as safe haven demand surged. Then it whipsawed as markets tried to price the disruption. Gold is doing what gold does during uncertainty, moving violently in both directions. The real risk is not the market drop. The real risk is not the market drop. The real risk is your response to the market drop. If you sell your investments now, you replace market risk with two worse risks. Inflation risk as your cash loses purchasing power, and opportunity cost risk as you miss the recovery that history says is coming. But knowing this intellectually is different from feeling it emotionally. Your nervous system does not care about historical data. It cares about stopping the pain of watching numbers decline. This is why understanding your psychological blind spots matters so much. You need awareness to override instinct. Now, let me give you the actionable steps that separate households who emerge stronger. Action 1. Do not panic. Sell your investments. This is the most important action because getting it wrong is irreversible. The moment you sell at the bottom, you lock in losses and exit recovery. This locks in losses with no chance for recovery. Action 2. Pressure test your emergency fund immediately. The old advice was 3 to 6 months. That advice assumed normal conditions. Current conditions are not normal. Extend your target to 6 to 12 months of essential expenses. Keep this money in high-yield savings. Do not invest emergency funds. Do not lock them in CDs with penalties. Accessible and earning interest. That is the formula. Action 3. Audit your spending before waves 2 through 5 arrive. Do not wait until grocery bills force the conversation. Start cutting discretionary spending now while you still control the process. Identify subscriptions to eliminate. Reduce dining out frequency. Postpone major purchases. Create margin before the margin gets squeezed involuntarily. Early adjustment is calm and strategic. Late adjustment is panicked and painful. Early adjustment is calm and strategic. The households that adjust earliest experience the least pain. Action 4. Continue dollar cost averaging into investments. If you have automated investment contributions, do not stop them. Market drops mean your regular contribution buys more shares at lower prices. This is mathematically advantageous, even though emotionally wrong. Your automated system does not feel fear. Let it keep buying while others panic sell. Fear creates opportunity for the disciplined. Action 5. Map your personal energy exposure. Everyone's situation is different. Some households have long commutes that multiply fuel cost impact. Fourth, some have variable rate debt that will spike if the Fed raises rates. Some own small businesses with direct energy input costs. We map these exposures for a comprehensive risk analysis. Identify where energy prices hit your specific situation hardest. Create contingency plans for those specific vulnerabilities. Design risk mitigation strategies as a proactive defense. Generic advice only goes so far. Your defensive strategy must reflect your actual exposure. This is the critical personalization. Now, the window to implement these actions is open right now. It will not stay open forever. By the time wave 3 or 4 becomes visible to everyone, the early advantage disappears. You become one of millions reacting simultaneously instead of one of thousands positioning ahead. Response time is everything. Wealth does not determine crisis outcomes. Preparation speed does. The households that come out of crisis stronger are not the richest. Speed of preparation determines strength. You now have information most people will not understand for months. You see the 5 waves. You understand your psychological blind spots. You know the actions that protect your household. The question is whether you act on this information or scroll to the next video and forget. If this video showed you what's coming, hit subscribe. I cover financial preparation most channels ignore. I'm your trusted source for early warnings on what others miss. Subscribe now. Share this with someone whose household needs this warning. Drop a comment telling me your first action step so I know this information is actually being applied. 5 waves incoming. Most people see only the first. Now you see all 5. The window is open. Act now. The window of opportunity is closing. Every day you wait without implementing these actions reduces your preparation advantage. I will see you in the next video. Until then, protect your household, understand the waves, stay prepared. Your future depends on the decisions you make today.